Today's project is working on my 89 MR2 and trying to wire in this harness so that I can update the lighting system to the proper ground so that new LED headlights work. So I've taken off of a couple of panels, took the panel off there so I can tap into a positive hot lead right there in the fuse box. And I've taken out the headlights now and the trim pieces that go around it. So these right here normally sit like this, like that, and encompass the headlight. So taking a look around this, trying to figure the best way to run the wires. So I took off this cover here, and man, that is disgusting. Talk about something that never gets cleaned. So first job will be to clean that up, and I think I'm going to wire from here and bring this loom under this and then back into this headlight over here. So, looking at the best way to run these wires, these fittings are obviously too big to get through some of the holes. I'd rather not drill new holes. So I found some holes I could pass some wires through. And so what I did was I removed these from this. So now I can pass these through a lot smaller hole. Then I'll reconnect them on the other side of the hole. And how I did that was just, I used this real small, kind of a micro, where is it? Micro screwdriver. And I used it, and basically, well, I guess I used this one. So I inserted it where you see that little notch in each one, and there's a little pin on the flat side of this, right there, that holds it in. And I just pushed that pin in and slid those out of this. So now I can much more easily run those wires, and I'll do that to all of these. I think I'm going to mount the relays right here. There's no good pass-through in the firewall there, or not so much firewall, but this first bulk wall. And so I think I'll use one of those holes, that bigger hole down there. Those will fit through there, and I'll be in business. So I'll finish taking the rest of these off, and we'll go from there. First light is done now. I ended up wiring, and I'll lay this right along in here on top of the radiator. And there was an existing hole down there. It was really too small, but I didn't want to drill it out more. So what I did is I found some split loom that I had that was a little smaller than what came on the kit, and I was able to shove that through the hole, and the wires go through there then to protect it. And when they pop out the other side and then up to here. So this will go get plugged into the headlight. The OEM one, which is down there, will not be, where is it? There it is. This one right here will not be used on this side. You actually only plug into one of the two sides. So I'm going to end up mounting this here, I believe, for the relays. And then this side I'll depin these two plugs, put them through into here. This one goes into this headlight, and this one goes into the OEM plug. And then the only other one is my power, which will get plugged into the fuse box there. So the trickiest part on this was really finding a hole that I wanted to use and not drill more holes. So I wish it was a little bigger, but I made it work. So now we'll get this left one done, or I guess the right one theoretically. All right. So for anybody that has not depinned a connector before, this one's pretty easy. So I'm just using a small micro screwdriver and sticking it down into this little square section right here. And you just kind of, there's a little tab in there. And what you're trying to do is depress that so that it gets around the clip. There it goes. So there we go. There's one. What I need to do is I only need to do these two. There it goes. There. Perfect. So now this part will stay in here, and I'll ground that inside the space there. So I need to pass these two wires through into the space. So, and there's a hole right down there that I'm going to use. So the trickier part will be on this one, because I've got these three wires also. So I'll end up depinning these, but I don't know if that hole is big enough to get, I don't think it's big enough to get all 5 of these in. It's a pretty big cluster there. And if I could get them all in, I'm not going to be able to get any protection on those wires, so I'll have to experiment with that. So for this one, I had to go ahead and drill out the hole a little bit bigger, and I put a rubber grommet to protect the wiring so I can get all 5 of the, I tested it here, and get all 5 of them through there. And what I'm going to do, here's my positive lead. I found the positive hot wire right there. So I tapped into that, and I'm going to run a wire from there, and I'm going to actually run it right through this. It's already there, so you can see the wiring loom right there going through it. So I'm going to pop it through that rubber, and that will bring it out right there. So let's see if I can see this for you guys. So kind of hidden right behind there, but there it is. So bring it right through there, and then I will just run it right along the existing loom right there, and we'll be done. Just a matter of putting in the headlights and be all finished. Final review of what I did here, installing this harness. So relays are mounted here, wires running through a grommet there, and coming in underneath the headlight. So other wires run across there and come in and plug in to that headlight. And what I did is, it's over this way. So there's where I popped the power line through, and then just ran that right along there and tapped into the hot wire. So harness works perfectly. New headlights are in. I already tested them. They work, both low and high beam. Just got to put the trim pieces back around the headlights. This cover piece here, and then the trim pieces inside. So it's just a matter of wrapping it up, but everything works perfectly well. So another job done. Thanks for watching. Hope this helps anybody else that wants to do this modification.